Ha ha! Sick. Good morning, everybody. Man, we got things to do. You know how it goes. Showtime. Yeah! That's right. Hey, Mitch, Miss Priceman, how you doing? Good morning. Richie, what's up, baby? How you doing? All right, guys, let's get to work. It's showtime. New Year's Eve. Happy birthday to America. Wait, is New Year's Eve the birthday of America? Whatever it is, it's New Year's Eve, and we got things to do. Clarence, what's up, man? What's good in the hood? It's the last day of the year. The market is open a full day. So if you're thinking about being really sneaky and getting out of the house early, can't. The market's open all day. We're going to have some good shreds this morning, though. Plan is to take advantage of the volatility that's moving around in the market the last 2 days. We're going to come in and out, get out by lunch. Then you guys can go out, get your hair did, your clothes pressed, get some flowers for your woman or some flowers for your man. I know things have changed in the world these days and everything is, opposite. So whatever it is that gets you going, you're going to do that today. So you get your hair did, your car wash, you're going to go to the gym, you're going to get a little tan, you get a GTL, and then you're going to dance the night away and start your new year off in gluttony, which is the American way to do things. Let's take a look at the market. We got volatility all over the place yesterday. The market dumped a little bit yesterday, which is awesome. We want to see volatility. We are day traders, right? Like we want to see a little bit of action. The market had been just in a steady grind for a little bit. Now we are on the 90 EMA on the daily, so we very well could be bouncing. Mr. Jim, how you doing? We could bounce today. What we need to see today is if we hold yesterday's low. You can see we got a little bit of a gap down in the market right now. That's adding to the volatility. If you look at TVIX, TVIX is a measure of market volatility. You're coming off this rounding bottom here. You don't even have any really resistance till 60. Watch today. If at the open, if TVIX breaks 57 and holds, meaning you get a candle to hold, then that's going to tell us where the market is going today. If it breaks 57 and holds, guess what? We're going to be having to short some stocks and get really all over the place. The market has lost a lot of volatility as it's been grinding up. The last couple days, we're starting to see that increase. So that means that you have to be less aggressive on the long side and more aggressive on the short side. So have a list of shorts ready to go in case the market dumps today. A couple that look like they're just bleeders right now. This Roku looks nasty yesterday. Nasty yesterday. If you've got this previous low here from TC, you're finally getting paid on this bad boy, huh? 127. So you can see we're at 128 pre-market. If you break under 127, man, this thing is going right back to the 200 SMA. One thing to remember with Roku, Roku has not tested the 200 SMA this whole year. So it's due for a test and a pullback. Let's see how we react around here. You already see you're starting to break under that level right now in the pre-market. I think that this one will give us a nice potential opportunity for a short. It looks like this SGL. So two things to do. When the market gets volatile and pulls back, if you look at earnings plays, like if you want to long a stock, you got to focus more on earnings plays because those are going to be the plays that move irregardless of what's happening in the market. This SLJL is interesting. This is a biotech stock. It faded off pretty much the whole day yesterday, but you're starting to see it creep already. I'd keep this one on watch. These type of stocks, like these little biotech stocks, they are the ones that usually move on days like New Year's Eve or Christmas. So when you have like Thanksgiving week, Christmas week, New Year's Eve week, usually those weeks, it's these kind of small cap stocks that start to run around and move. So I definitely want to put this one on the list. The thing to be just mindful on this one is going to be what's the spread on it and what's the liquidity. Like yesterday it was only 2 million shares in volume. That doesn't seem like much for like, a stock that was basically up like over 100%. Usually in these type of plays, like you want to see like 5-6 million shares fly right off the bat. So just be mindful. If you see an ORB on this one and it's near 21, we're going to have to shred this thing. Guys, the hot play yesterday, man, I had to hop on a flight yesterday. I missed this thing. Who shredded this NIO yesterday? Man, Brad in our chat room, big fat Brad. No, I'm just kidding. Big Brad, man, he was hitting this thing at like 310. And, dude, I missed the whole thing. I had to hop on a flight, but this thing was incredible. So one thing to know about NIO, yesterday it did 433 million shares in volume. Let me tell you guys, in the 10 years I've been running this business, says Mr. Wamalik, you've seen me, I can't remember last time I saw a stock do 400 million shares in volume. It's very, very rare. You can't ignore that kind of price action. You can't ignore that kind of price action. Look, with Tesla running, this is like the Chinese Tesla, right? Like, this sounds so stupid, right? Hey, guys, I'm playing the Chinese Tesla. But that's what it is. You're already starting to see some pre-market action on this. This one, I think we're going to get both a long and a short on this one. What I don't like is this big tail at the end, right? You got this big dump. So what I want to do today is we want to do two things. Number one, if we start to see an ORB and we break above 5, like we'll take that thing. But the other thing you want to start watching is if it starts to, like, on a smaller term time frame, start to reverse a little bit, you may get a double top at 5, and we probably get a short on this one too. This one's not going to be hard to borrow because of the volume. It's going to be pretty easy to borrow. So even if you're trading it, like Ameritrade or E-Trade or something like that, you'd be fine on this one. So definitely put NIO on the list here. That's top of the list. You got to have it top of the list. This SVRA was really cooking yesterday. You can see here 53 million shares in volume. It broke over 5. Like, look at the end of day shred on this one. So I think this one's going to be in play too. You guys know my rules though. No small caps on holidays for me. There's no better way to ruin Christmas, to ruin New Year's, than to have, 10,000 shares of SVRA and have it just dump on you. Next thing you know, you're spending New Year's alone, calling, hookers off Backpage, wondering why you can't get a girlfriend to take you out and dance the night away, and it's all because you had SVRA and you lost your money and can't afford to go to the bar, so now you're in Backpages doing some god-awful stuff, worrying about how you got here. It was all because of SVRA. So I would put this on your list for some of you guys. This is not for me because it just breaks my rule. No small caps on holidays. No small caps on Fridays, which is also a holiday, and on holiday days. So just be mindful of those. Yo, this BE though, this is not like a typical small cap because it just moves a little bit steadier. It's not like a low floater for the most part. I think this one is hot though. Like, this would be probably a steadier one. You've got room to like 840 on this one. This is the type of name like you want to play. This is a nice flat top breakout. So what do you guys need to have a breakout? 1 test, 2 tests, 3 tests of resistance here. You got room to 840 on this bad boy. Like, this thing is hot. Like, so this is what I want to see. If I'm looking for like a pure breakout, something that's clean, crisp, tight, then this is what I want to go with this thing. I think this thing, it's going to break over 840. The second part of this is if you guys understand tax loss selling. So tax loss selling is, when you have a stock that's a dog that's been going down like every day all year, when you have a stock that's a dog, what'll typically happen in December, if you start to see it rebound, usually that means that people are done selling it for their tax purposes. So like, if you have a bunch of dogs in your portfolio, you usually sell them in December to book your losses, right? So you can write them off. And then once those losses are booked, you start to see them start to rebound and it starts to come back up. So this is a nice look. It does 6 million shares of volume. This is like a slow and steady one. This and NIO, they have liquidity, so they're going to move a little bit different than SVRA, which is probably, a pump and dump and even worse than that. So I'd keep this one on the watch list. Dun, 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 dun. Let's see what else we got here. The rest of these gappers stink. It's fine. Let's go on the downside. This CLB, I think this thing could be hot. What do you think? Woo! So CLB is an oil and gas company. It's a 44 million share float, $2 billion company. You can see here, man, like you're busting under this level right here. Corollary lowers guidance. Okay, so lowers guidance, EPS, and it cuts his dividend. So that's like the holy trifecta of not good, right? Lowering guidance is bad. Lowering earnings is bad. The cutting dividend is bad. So these are all, that's like the holy trinity of bad. If this thing can hold under this 40 spot, I think we've got a chance on this one, all right? Now, the issue on this one is going to be, it's already down 17%. So it's going to have an SSR on it. So, guys, what is the patterns that we like to trade at the open? There's two patterns that we like to trade. When you have a stock that gaps down like this, there's two patterns that we look for. Number one is opening range breakdown, which is a 3-candle pattern, right? So you pop down. If you get 3 sideways candles at the open and then you shred lower, then guess what? We could take that for a short. If you gap down here and then you start to pop back towards the 9 EMA, then we can take a trade at the 9 EMA and shred it back down that way too. So those are kind of the two ways that you want to do it. So it's essentially, it's like a first pullback short. Like, so first pullback short, like see this? Like you spike down and then you pull back right into your 9 EMA and then you shred it back down. So that's what we would be looking for on a play like a CLB. Just a push down, pop into the 9, and then go, right? So push down, pop, go. Push down, pop, go. That's nice. So I like the CLB. Let's add that to the list. This is the top one of the top watches for us. Hey, mother lover, what's going on? What's going on in the hood? All right, so CLB top of the list. All right, Rad is gapping down again. Damn. Man, let me tell you something about Rad, man. I waited days to short this pig, and it left without me yesterday. That's the worst, right? When you're like stalking a stock for days. Look, Rad's always been a turd. You know, stock used to be like $1. And it got pumped from 8 to 24 on these earnings. And now, like, see how you're starting to just bleed your way out? So now you're sitting at the 9. A lot of people will try to bounce this. The issue on trying to bounce Rad is that the pullback, when you have a pullback type of trade, what you want is like a slow, steady, like low volume pullback, something that's like really orderly. When you have a pullback trade that's having, when you have a pullback trade that has like a big gap down and then you got tons of volume selling, it becomes much harder to frankly bounce. And so the probabilities go down quite a bit. So I'm not looking at, trying to long this, maybe till it gets like back down, much lower. So I would keep this on watch still today for shorts. A lot of the meat of the move is probably gone now because it's moved $10, but I think you'll have a play in this at some point today. It also moves just really well. Like, it's been doing a decent amount of volume, like 40, 50 million shares. It just moves pretty well. Like you could see here, when it started to bleed out yesterday, like it went from 1750 to 1550 without any interruption. And that's what I want to see like in a stock. When you look at a stock and you're thinking about playing it, what you need to see is like, how does this stock move? Is it orderly? Is it clean? Does it follow the patterns that you personally like to trade? And if it does, then guess what? That's a stock that you really want to shred. So just something to be mindful of. I like this one a lot. We'll play this one back and forth today. I think we're gonna get, if it pops, we'll short. If you get a good squeeze on it, like man, if this thing squeezes into 15, 16s, I think we can roll this thing back over, but I won't short this thing into the hole. If you short it into the hole, it becomes much trickier. So add Rad to the list. Good. And the rest of this. Are you guys seeing any other gappers here? Patrick, we are never going to change the music in the chat room. So you guys know, you guys have been with me a long time. In 10 years, we've had the same playlist in the chat room forever. We know what we listen to, right? We listen to American music because that's what we like to do. So we can't change. We just can't change it, Patrick. I wish I could. America, baby. We know what we like to listen to. All right, let's talk about the regular watch list. So there's a couple things you got to add. Remember, when the market is volatile like this, you need to have some plays that you can short. So there's two ways to short the market. You can short individual stocks, or you can use inverse ETFs. So this TVIX is an inverse ETF. So when the market goes down, TVIX goes up, right? So it's just working in inverse. You can see like yesterday, it had all sorts of range on this. I think if this one can break and hold 57, we had a nice trade on this. Like, we basically made like a buck something on it in like 2 candles. It was awesome. It moves really, really fast. If it breaks and holds over 57, we're good to go. If I could turn back time is a fantastic piece of art, and you are correct. That is always. So I want you to put TVIX on the watch list. SQQ. So SQQ is the inverse ETF for the NASDAQ. So if the NASDAQ goes down, then SQQ will go up. All right? You can see here, like, you're really stuck right at that 23 spot at the 9 EMA. If you can break over that 9 EMA on the daily, then I think you'll shred all the way to 24, 25 really, really quickly. When the market gets nasty, you've got to keep an eye on the actual market. See, when the market is easy, everybody looks like a genius, right? You'll have some kid with acne running around saying he turned $2,000 into $4 million trading XYZ stock, right? And everything looks easy when the market just goes up every day. The real skills come in when the market starts to get volatile, when the market starts to pull back. And now not every stock goes up, right? Half the stocks go up, half the stocks go down. Now it becomes a stock picker and a trader's game. You've got to be able to long and short if the market gets volatile like this. Watch this 23 spot. I think if you start to bust over this level, you're going to be able to get a nice play in SQQ. So I want, for top shorts, Roku, TVIX long, because if you long TVIX, that shorts the market. Then we've got, of course, SQQ. So we don't need to get too crazy with things. Now on the long side, guys, this LK is a monster. Every dip should be really looked at to be bought in this name. It's got the momentum, it's got the volume, it's got the heat that we're looking for. The one thing with SQ, it does a daily pop like this every day. SQ typically shakes out, and then almost always, if it starts to grind and holds at the VWAP, put VWAP indicator on your charts, guys. You always want to put VWAP indicator on your charts. Why? Because that's volume-weighted average price. It's the line in the sand on a particular name. So if it starts to hold and grind at that VWAP, you'll see this kind of action all the time, where it'll just, boom, pop out, and you'll nail like $1.50 a buck. You can see the previous day, look what happened. It popped up and it came down. It started to grind at that VWAP, and then boom, like it just pops up $2. Same thing yesterday, right? It shakes you out at the open, and then it starts to hold at that VWAP. It starts to build. It starts to marinate. Stocks get their power from consolidation. They get their power from basing. So when they start sitting there and they grind at that VWAP, that's when they're going to start to pop out. So what are we looking for today? Well, we've got weakness on the tape already on this, right? It's pulling back $1. That's good. Any kind of big dip in LK, if you can get this thing down into 36s, then watch how it starts to round. If it starts to round and starts to hold near that VWAP, guys, oh man, then we're going to get a little bit of a play on this. What's the second part that we like about LK, guys? Relative strength. Relative strength. What I mean by relative strength is, yesterday the market was getting smoked, right? And this one was actually moving up. So you have relative strength. Whenever the market gets volatile, I'm looking for names that show relative strength, names that are bucking what's happening in the market. So yesterday, like LK, was bucking the market. So that's something. This thing's gonna be hot. Now, RVLV junk, Roku, we got this one. Hey, this Space Galactic, it might need a couple more days. We took a shot at it yesterday, and I took like a 3-penny loss on it. Gut feeling this thing is gonna rip over 13 like any day. The volume has been really spiking up on it, and you can see even on the trend intensity, like things are starting to change a little bit in terms of the trend intensity momentum, or the momentum intensity. You're coming off from 7 to 12, so you're almost up a double. Watch this thing as it marinates in bases. If this thing can hold and break over, I would say about 12, I think you're going to see this thing at 13 real quick, and then at that point, it's game on. Plus, it's just got a cool ticker, right? Space, like, who wouldn't want to, right? Who wouldn't want to trade space? Virgin Galactic, like that is, it's just a hot name. So we got to trade this one. You got a week open on this one, but this is the real spot, right? If you start to break over 1170, then what you're going to do is that's going to take you over that 12 spot, and then you're good. I always, like when I'm doing my homework, go back on like a 30-minute chart or a 60-minute chart and look back at all the levels. Like, where do I need to break over? Where are the levels? And then boom, boom, boom. You know, that's where you want to go. So you always want to eyeball your levels. So we know if you look at a 30-minute chart, this 1175 is a trigger that takes it probably to 1288. And then if it starts to marinate and base and build power and then breaks over that 1288, now you've got a secondary push. IPO breakouts are very powerful. So what IPO breakout is, if you're a new issue, so like you're an issue that's been around for less than a couple years, you can see this is like basically a 2-year-old stock. When you break the all-time highs, your IPO highs, it becomes very, very powerful. You can, if the float is low enough on it, you can really get, you can really get some good shreds. So this one looks pretty good. Guys, I've been watching this crowd for a while. This is going to be more of a swing trade. I know some of you guys are day traders and some of you guys are swing traders. If this thing can break and hold over, I'd say about 51, this one's going to be hot. So like if you look at this one, you've got two moving averages over here that it's kind of nuzzled under. You got your 50 and your 20. And then if you're looking at like a 30-minute or an hourly chart, you can see like there's a just like a nice level. There's a nice level that's been building up here. Woo! If this thing can break and hold here, I think that this one will be another one of those tax loss selling plays. So tax loss selling plays are anything that's down 50% or more. So write this down. This is the formula on how you scan for tax loss selling plays. So in your TC2000, you would make a new condition set, and you add in essentially what you're looking for. So any type of tax loss selling play, this is what I'm looking for. Now, I got a whole list of these bad boys. I want former momentum names that at one point had doubled during the last couple years and then has dropped 50% or more. All right? I need the float on this to be under 100 million. We need some type of basing action, meaning it's going sideways for a period of time, allowing the buyers and sellers to reach some kind of equilibrium. And then it's just a matter of a trigger, right? So in this particular one, probably like 51, 50 would be a nice spot. Oil names are showing a lot of those kind of bottoming patterns. So like WLL, this is a tax loss selling, a potential play. I need to see how this thing reacts around here. CRC is another one that like this thing was, 30, 40, 50 bucks. You're starting to see some basing action around here. If this thing can break and hold over 10, then, I'm good to go on something like this. So all of these are going to be nice little plays. Chewy's another one. This was 40 bucks during IPO, got down to 22. You're seeing this thing is pretty bottomed out at this point. Watch this thing around 29. I got an alert set at 29.50. So on your TC2000, if you just right click, you can set an alert at trend lines. And when you have a big watch list, set alerts for like all sorts of stuff. So you can right click a level, you set an alert, so now you can watch more names. Like a lot of people, they can only watch like 2 or 3 names. Well, it's hard to be a really good trader if you can only, if your brain can only process like watching 2 stocks. You got to watch a lot of stocks because it's a hot market. So using alerts is an easy way to get organized and just be able to watch more stocks, right? So I got an alert set at Chewy at 29.50. If it busts over it, then I'm going to go long. If it stays under, then I have no interest in it. ARWR is another one. Like this thing is just tightening up. Remember what I said? Stocks get their power from consolidation and basing. So you got a wide range here, and now it's getting tighter. See how it's compressing here? It's compressing and building up that steam. It's building up that energy. So when you compress, woo! Once that range gets tighter and tighter, it just builds up that explosion. So if it finally breaks out over this trend line, damn, this thing is going to go ham. Ham. So if it breaks this trend line, you'll see it into the mid-70s really quickly. We've traded ARWR before. Like it can move $5, $10 in a particular day. I love this name. It's going to trade like crap for a little while till the range actually breaks. See, as day traders, we need to be in stocks that are released. meaning that they're not stuck, they're out of range. So that's why, like, I'd rather have something that's on a day 1 or day 2 of a breakout than try to trade something that's inside the range, if that makes sense. Because inside the range, none of the stuff that you use, like your patterns or indicators, they don't work. In absence of trend, indicators don't work, like patterns don't work. So while this thing is just kind of basing out, it's not going to do anything. But when it breaks down this level or breaks out this level, then it'll move clean, and all of a sudden the patterns that you like to do will start to work. So add this one, but this is another one. Like, you want to just set an alert at that trend line. So set an alert at like 66. If you've got, near 66, I think you're going to be good to go. Yo, this JNUG is hot. So JNUG, first of all, if JNUG had a big range break here. So this is like, see how this thing was at 100 and then came all the way to 55. So drop 50% or more off its lows, which is huge. Ooh, okay, it's interesting. You got almost 50% off its lows. Then it's been months consolidating, building up steam near the 200 SMA. Then last week, it broke this range, and so now it's a range breakout. And you can see over here, you got a 3-candle sideways pattern going. Like, man, I think this thing's got 100 in its cards relatively soon. You can see today, JNUG is gapping up a little bit. I think we got to put this one on watch. Now, the thing with JNUG, and you got to remember this, JNUG does not work well because it's a 3x gold ETF. It doesn't work well if you chase it on strength. With JNUG in particular, you got to always let it pull back. So what I like to do with JNUG, it needs to like pull back to some level of support or get some kind of consolidation and then go. So like you want always hit it on pullbacks near some kind of support. Like we added this thing we were playing this thing in the chat room yesterday. You see how like it gapped up and then if first pull back to the VWAP 9 EMAs, that's where like you want to hit this thing. You don't want to just chase it up on strength. Let it pop and then pull back to those EMAs and then you're go. So I think that one is the same thing. So you can go JNUG or Nugget. Both of these are going to be fine. So let's summarize, right? What are the top plays for today? What are the top plays? Right? We've got NIO. I think Maxer is going to have another run. BE, which is looking good in the range break. This CLB, if it can ORB near 37 only. If it can ORB near 37, and then we've got RAD, and then we got all these names, right? Use TVIX too. TVIX, if it can break and hold 57, I'm interested. Anything under 57, I'm not interested. So just be mindful of like those different locations when you're doing this. Good. Let's go shred. Let's go do what we do. Guys, it's New Year's, all right? Have fun. Hopefully you guys have made some progress in your trading careers. We've been crushing it in the chat room every day for really the last few months. You guys are more than welcome to come check us out. We have a ton of fun in there, and man, let's do this. Guys, remember one lesson of trading. You're only as good as the names that you trade. So you got to pick the best stocks, the best movers that fit your profile, and then, man, let's make a quick day out of this, guys. Sal, Patrick, Fish, let's go do what we do, all right? Let's have some fun, guys. Woo! Eddie, what's up, baby?